This is Ari Koretsky, and welcome to Jews You Should Know, introducing the broader community to interesting and inspiring Jewish men and women making a difference in our world. Some are already famous, some not yet so, but each is a Jew you should know.
We are back with another fabulous episode of Jews You Should Know. This is actually another throwback episode, Throwback Thursday, TBT, for those listening on the day of release at least. As the war in Israel rages on, and we are now mid-December 2023, I decided I would continue putting out a mixture of Israel-related and other kinds of content, and this episode specifically is Israel-related. Uri Alon is the founder of the Salad Trail, one of my favorite places in Israel. And Uri is an amazing, amazing guy who interviewed a bunch of years ago on my live tour to Israel, where I did about 25 interviews in 2 weeks. It was a really incredible experience, and Uri was a big part of that. He runs a farm called the Salad Trail, about 5 miles from the Gaza Strip, really deep in the south of Israel, a place that literally has made the desert bloom, grown incredible assortment of vegetation, flowers, cherry tomatoes, peppers, all kinds of different agriculture in the desert using hydroponics, using drip irrigation, all kinds of advanced technologies, and true expertise, as well as that indefatigable Israeli pioneering spirit. And Uri suffered greatly on October 7th, both in terms of personal losses in his extended family and circle of friends, given where he lives, and also financially, his farm is a place that is open to many, many visitors, thousands of visitors a year, birthright groups, families, and now it lies barren, both in terms of agriculturally, but also from any tourists. And so releasing this in hopes that perhaps people will reach out. There's ways to sponsor, there's ways to support the farm, to support their work, to get private tours booked for the future, as well as to dedicate rows of growth, of vegetation to individuals, kind of old school JNF style, tree planting. And I hope people take advantage of this, because Uri really is phenomenal and embodies so much of the beauty of the land of Israel. Such a wonderful person. The interview you'll hear, the audio is not amazing. It was, again, a few years ago, and it was done in one of these cacophonous Israeli rooms with lots of hard floors and plaster on the walls and all that. So the acoustics were really quite poor. We did it live, but hopefully you'll be able to enjoy the interview nonetheless. So I present this throwback episode to the founder of the Salad Trail, Uri Alon. We are here at the Salad Trail with Uri Alon, founder of the Salad Trail, which we'll learn about very shortly what that actually is. The Salad Trail is one of my favorite places in all of Israel. I was very excited when I decided to make this trip to make sure I could come down here to interview Uri, who I've met a number of times bringing groups here. A remarkable place that we're excited to learn all about. How are you, Uri?
I'm wonderful. When you are here, come with your wife to visit me. I'm enjoy.
As we do this interview, my wife is on a tour going around the area. She's never been here before, so part of my excitement was to bring her and show her and let her enjoy a tour, which I've had the privilege of doing quite a few times. Uri, tell us a little bit about where you are from.
I born in Israel, in the center of Israel, in a city called Rehovot.
Okay.
57 years ago. And learn in Rehovot until age 18, and then I go to the army, join the army to the Navy.
What was life like in Rehovot for you?
My hobby from I was young is to grow things. All the passion, or we say it in Hebrew, green thumb, or in English, green thumb, I get from my mother. Always in my house we have plant. I have a small nursery just at my home, and my mother teach me to raise unique vegetables and unique animals.
Interesting.
Where did she know this from? She learned it herself, or?
Yes, she learned it by herself. She came from Germany after the Holocaust.
She went through the Holocaust?
No, her family ran away before the Holocaust from Germany. She came to Israel in age 5 years old. And her hobby was also plants and animals. And she raised all these unique animals that later, I explain you, even we have them in my farm.
Right.
And this passion for agriculture and for animals get from her.
Interesting, because you think about Rehovot, which is in the middle, as you said, of the country, the Tel Aviv region, the most populous region in the country. You don't associate that area with planting, with growing, with agriculture.
No, this time it's not, but in the beginning, 80 years ago, Rehovot was the center of the agriculture of Israel, the center of the oranges, the center of where all the agriculture was. And now they prefer to build building on the land. And now more the orchard came to the desert, here to this area. So
why do you think it changed? I mean, what was different about 80 years ago versus today?
the change is the modern and the population. You need to understand that in the year 1948 in Israel there was only 600,000 Israeli here. Now we are about 8 million. So most of the center of Israel is full, and most of the people like to live next to the big city, next to Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. But for my opinion, that my passion was to do agriculture, I know that I need to move to the desert and to start as a pioneer from the beginning. But the center was in Israel and even in Rehovot, but even the biggest University of Agriculture is in Rehovot. It's called it's part of the Hebrew University. It's called Fakulta Lechaklaut. It's the agriculture science school. It's in the higher education. It's in Rehovot, and then I live there and learn also in the university.
Actually, I did not know that. That's really surprising.
Yes, and also Weizmann Institute. It's also in Rehovot.
Aha, interesting. That's more for science.
Yes, yes.
Interesting. So you grew up with this love of growing things, and your mother, it sounds like, gave you a good education and a passion for it. What kinds of things did she grow in the house?
We grow unique vegetables in the garden, like carrot, like different flowers, like a flower. I have a unique flower I remember. It was more very exciting me that it's special plant that if you touch it, it's close his leaf. And if you give it to eat, it's close the leaf and eat a meat even. So I grow crop like this, a plant like this, and even I learned from my mother to do grafting, to take one plant, for example, a lemon, and to do grafting on it with another kind of citrus like orange or pomelo and other crop. So my mother teach me how to do grafting, and later I learned it in the university, but to do a unique thing, she teach me. But another animal, unique animal that my mother grow and raise and tell me, the most interesting was a homing pigeon. And even this, now, it's one part of my tour that in a minute I explain.
Yes, an amazing, amazing animal, which we'll get to. What was the Jewish community like in Rehovot back then? Did you have much Jewish education? And was your interest in agriculture in any way connected to the Jewish heritage?
My father came from Germany also, and he learned in Cheder.
Really? Interesting.
When he came to Israel. But the time changed, and most of the people are not religion, and even my family, there was not religion. But always I interest about the connection between agriculture to the religion. So even in my farm, I show how you can still be a farmer and take care about the Shemitah rules, and take care about Ma'asarot and Trumot, and I teach other And even I have special garden, 7 species garden here. For remember my mother, it's connected to the religion. I show people how you can grow in a desert all the 7 species and even the 4 species. I have them here.
Wow. Yeah, I want to come back later to the discussion of all the ritual connections and talk about the tithes and the Shemitah, the sabbatical year. I remember I once brought a group here during the Shemitah, during the sabbatical year, when the land has to rest. And I wanted somebody to tell them about this connection to the land. And he said, Rabbi, you tell them. I said, no, Uri, you tell them. And you gave them the presentation much better than I could, even though I'm a rabbi, because for you are living with it. And I want to, a little later hear more about that. So you went to the army. Did you have any connection to agriculture in the army, or
No,
it was just a standard service?
No, I was in the Navy. I was a captain of a military boat for 20 years.
Really?
And,
So you were a career military?
Yes, but later I served 6 years in duty and another 14 years in reserve. So when I finished the army, I go to learn in the Hebrew University. And then I came here to the south of Israel, to Moshav Talmei Yosef. But all this time, 1 month a year, I go to serve in the army. Even in the Bible, it's right that in one hand you hold the sword, and in the other,
plow in the other hand.
the plow with the other.
Yes.
So even this time we still do it. Now I adult, but before, for 20 years, 1 month a year, I go to sail in the Navy. And
Do you also love the water? It's interesting
Yes.
because you like the agriculture, but that's very different.
it's different, but this is I serve in a sea of water. Now I sea of sand. So it's quite the same.
And you're surrounded both ways. So what brought you eventually, after the army or after your studies, down here to the south? For those unfamiliar, we are here in the heart of the Negev, the south part of the state of Israel. Not the deepest part of the south, but relatively south, not far from Gaza, for those who know. And no, not a very populated part of Israel, probably the most empty part of the state, even though it's a huge part of its land mass. What brought you specifically here, specifically to the desert and to this particular moshav?
When I finished to learn in the university in the year 1988, it was very hard to start with agriculture. Now in the modern time, it's in Israel, a few years before, you can start from a new moshav, a new settlement, and the government subsidizes you and you can start from the beginning. But in the time that I start, if you want to start as a farmer, you need to buy a farm. And to buy a farm is a lot of million of shekel or a lot of 100,000 of US dollar, and I don't have this much money. The only place in Israel in that time that you can get a farm from the government, it's next to the border, next to border of Gaza, next to border of Egypt, and we can find some in that time in the Golan Heights or in the Arava, in the south of Israel. But I decided to go to this region because it's not so far from the center. It's only 1 hour and a half.
Right.
And my family stay in the center, so to be still in contact with the family and to do in this area agriculture, this without a lot of money, this is the only place that you can do it. So I learned to love this region. I don't came because of love of this region. I came with the passion for agriculture. Then I learned about this region and became to be in love with what I have here.
And you joined a specific moshav, you said Talmei Yosef, which is
Yes.
right here adjacent to the farm. So you were a part of this moshav, but they gave you a piece of land, or the government gave you land? How does that work?
When I came to the moshav, I need to buy a house
From the moshav?
from the government.
From the government, okay.
From the government, not expensive. It was not expensive. It was only 10,000 US dollar
Oh my gosh.
for a very big house.
That's a good deal.
Yes, and I get 15-acre free. Unfortunately, it's not in the middle of Manhattan.
Okay,
It's in the middle,
that's about maybe $10 billion.
yes, it's in the middle of the desert. But I get it for free. You get a free present, you take it. So I get the land from the government, but I cannot sell the land. I get only the
right to use it.
I have the right to use it and can give it to my sons and the next generation. But I can sell the right to another one, but I cannot build building in all this field. I can do only agriculture. This is the permission of the government to do agriculture. I get water. I need to buy the water, but I give the
connection,
the connection to the water supply, and then I can grow whatever I like. So it's in Moshav. So Moshav. It's like a village. Everyone decide for himself what to do with his land. I don't force to do anything. I do tourism. My neighbor is electronic engineering. The other is building houses. Everyone decide for himself what to do. So I decide to go on agriculture, unique, that we will speak about it.
And how do you all work together in a moshav? Because it's different than a kibbutz, right?
Yes.
So how does it function?
It's different from kibbutz because every farmer, it's like a village. Everyone have his own farm, his own bank account, and if I earn money, my neighbor lose, it's not affect me. It's everyone deal with the bank directly. But it's the society is together, the holidays, the Bet Knesset we have here, the celebration for Bar Mitzvah and things like this.
So it's just a really tight, close community.
Yes,
really,
yes.
Is what it is.
Yes, it's a community of, in the beginning, the Moshav was more socialist, so everyone must to help the other. Now it's everyone with his own
more
bank.
Capitalistic.
Yes.
But when you came here, the land was owned by the government, you said, not by the Moshav. So how did you connect to the Moshav at that time? You bought a house from the government and land from the government, but it just became part of the Moshav because it was next to it? Or
no, it's part of the Moshav. All the members of the Moshav need to be checked if they are fit for the Moshav. We have people that check if you are good for the society here, it's fit. Our Moshav was American and South African.
Interesting.
English speaking, most of them are Moshav, a lot of English people came. This was the base of our Moshav. So if you fit, you do 1 year in the Moshav, you grow whatever you like, and after 1 year, the member need to vote for you if it's okay that you go on. So you get the permission to go and to be a member of the community. But it's not, so the Moshav, it's effect about how many water you will get, it's not about money. It's more together we buy things and things like that.
Interesting. So right away you started farming these 15 acres, and what did you start to grow and how did you start to build a business?
Because I learned in the Hebrew University agriculture, I was professional of growing a unique thing. So from the beginning, after 1 day that I arrived, all my luggage stay unpacked at the house, and I go directly to the field, start to plant. After 1 week, I plant the first tomato crop, and after 2 months, I start to pick.
Oh my goodness.
And the highest price that I get from my tomato for almost 30 years was the first crop that I grew in this year. It was about $2 per 1 kilogram of tomato. Usually it's $0.50 the farmer gets.
Wow, what was so successful? Just because they were so
beginner luck.
I'll tell you, your beginner luck, I think, has continued for 30 years because those tomatoes are amazing. I eat them by the fistful.
Yes, but they don't pay for it.
That's right. That's right. So you started growing tomatoes and right away started having success. Did you have like a vision of like what you wanted to do long term? Did you know I want to grow, this and this and this and this? Or did you each year kind of add something new? How did your whole operation unfold, develop?
When I start, I get a field from people that live here before, and they left me a grape orchard, and that's all. And I start with vegetables because it's the fastest crop we can grow.
And you wanted to make profit right
yes,
away?
Because I don't have a big bank account.
Right.
I need to plant and to pick and
earn an income. Yeah.
Yes, I need a very fast income. So I start to grow vegetables, then I decide to start to grow organic crops. I have a friend that was professional of organic, so I believe of this system and I start to grow organic.
And what does it mean, organic? How does that work?
Organic, it's meaning without chemicals at all. You grow vegetables, no any chemical spraying and no any nutrition chemicals, only natural. So you get a fresh fruit without any chemicals in the fruit.
Is that more difficult?
Yes, sure. It's much more difficult because it's very hard to deal with
because of the bugs?
With the bugs and the insect and the nutrition. We are now in desert. In desert, the ground is very poor and you need to add a lot of nutrient to the plant. And when you don't have it, you need to add it. So if you have chemical solution, it's very easy, but to do it organic is very hard. And the yield, it's much less, and the fruit not look so nice like the fruit with the spraying. So if you take it to a regular market, they don't want to pay the same price because there is scratch on the fruit and some bugs sometimes eat a part of the leaf. So it's very healthy, but it's not paid as you get the less yield and less quality. So it was very hard to grow organic, and I grow it and try also to grow mango and grow also peaches and grow herbs and grow flower to export. All these crops I grow for about 20 years. I try every year different crop, different method. But my belief is not to invest a lot of money, because a few years ago, 30 years ago, you can earn money from a very small field. But when the modern time go on and on, you must have very big fields. In very big field, you need to take a lot of money to invest every year.
Right.
So I don't have so many money, and I don't want to risk all my family money and all the income. So I do a small field, and I guiding other farmer in the area about agriculture.
You became like a consultant.
Yes, I start to consult other farmer how to grow, how to deal with disease of plant, and I combine also the crops that I have here and also guide other farmers. So the income joined.
How is it even possible to grow in the desert? I mean, one of the amazing things about Israel today, and I think one of the reasons I love this place so much, is because of the prophecies that we talk about, that one day the Jews will return to the land and the desert will blossom. And you see it now with your own eyes in this place, the desert blooming. It's an incredible thing. You walk from the car to the greenhouses and you're stepping in sand like you're on the beach or something without the water. How is it possible to grow in such an environment?
All what you see here, it's connected to Israeli development. All what you see, it starts from the drip irrigation that developed in Israel. The first drip irrigation developed in Israel. And this idea can take the sand dune that we have here, and to add water and nutrient to the sand. And through the greenhouse, we control the weather. So even in the middle of the winter, we cover it with plastic sheet and the sun goes through the plastic and heat the greenhouse. In the summer, we have shade on the greenhouse. So we can have effect on the nutrient and on the temperature of the environment, so we can change the desert to a better area. So we can control the weather, we can control the nutrient, and then we can have this result like you mentioned just a minute ago.
But even in the ground itself, are there enough nutrients to grow?
No.
So how do you...
The ground don't have any nutrient. We have computer, they check how many nutrients we have in the soil, and through the drip irrigation, we can add, we know what the plant need, because we check it in the computer, and then through the irrigation system, we add it to the ground, and then the plant have whatever he needs.
So the drip irrigation is not just water, it's also nutrients?
Yes.
I did not realize that, but not chemical nutrients.
Yeah, chemical. Yes, chemical.
So that's not the organic.
It's not organic.
Got it. So the drip irrigation includes chemicals to help it grow with the proper nutrients. Explain a little bit about what drip irrigation is.
The idea of the drip irrigation is, I tell you the story how we find this idea. A very famous engineer of Mekorot, the first water company of Israel, once go to visit his friend, and he see a line of a tree, very small tree. One of the tree was double of the size that all the plant. He came to this tree and find that down this tree there's water pipe go with a very small hole in it. So it give one drop, one to another to the plant, to the specifically plant, and this plant grow very good. So understand that if you give the plant a little water all the time, like infusion to a man, so it's a best idea or the best solution for the plant.
Instead of giving a lot of water at once, and then nothing, and then a lot?
Yes, like floating. Before, or in a lot of country, you give water by floating. It's very bad because the roots need also oxygen. And when you give a lot of water, the oxygen in the soil go out, and the plant and the roots also suffer. So they need a little bit water, but not too much. So the drip irrigation is it's more moist than a lake, if you understand. So this is better for the plant, and the result is much better. So company named Netafim, develop it, and now 70% of the crop in the world is used by drip irrigation.
Really? 70% of the world?
Yes, and most of it developed in Israel. They sell from Israeli company named Netafim.
Unbelievable. And is that specifically more helpful in the desert when there's less natural rainfall? Or is it even helpful in a place where there's a lot of rainfall?
It's good everywhere because the situation with the oxygen in the soil is much better. In greenhouse, it's not effect of rain because it's cover. So, but and even the most known crop like rice that you usually grow in floating, now we can grow it with drip irrigation with better result. All the Asia, Thailand and Vietnam, full of fields of rice. Now we teach them that we can grow without any water with only the drip irrigation and better result.
Now what happens when there's drip irrigation but also a rainstorm? Does the rainstorm ruin what happens? Because then it saturates the land.
After a big rain, we need to add more nutrient because when you have a big storm, all the nutrients go down from the roots of the plant. You need to give another time the nutrients. So even with small water, you can feed the plant. Okay, so it's not only water, it's all the environment in the soil that we take care of it.
And this ends up producing also a tastier product?
The effect of the taste of the vegetables not affect mostly from the drip irrigation. It's more effect by the varieties that we develop. We develop, for example, the cherry tomato that you mentioned.
Sure.
That developed in Israel. The first cherry tomato.
Really? I did not know that.
Yes. In the beginning, it's called TV tomato because you eat it
natural.
No, you eat it.
TV, like I thought you meant the Hebrew word,
No,
like natural.
No, not natural.
Television.
Television tomato because you eat it in front of the television. It's a snack.
Small, yeah.
So in the beginning, it would start when it started in Israel, in the
When was this developed?
in the year 1960, something like
Okay.
this, in the Hebrew University in Jerusalem. We develop a unique variety for taste. Not only the shape in interest, taste of the tomato is very interesting. You mentioned that you eat it before, and now we have a unique variety that we take care from the taste. So, for example, to do a new variety of cherry tomato, it costs $1 million, and it
Why?
takes 7 years to develop.
Why is that?
Because you need, it's crossbreeding between different crops, and until you have commercial crop, it's very hard because you need to know exactly what result you will have, what size of tomato you will have, what taste, what shape, what color, what resistant for disease. We put also resistant for disease in the gene of the tomato, so we don't want to spray a lot. So we develop a very strong plant. So it's take a lot of money to develop it and a lot of time.
Wow. So how often do you do this? Do you actually try
Every
to...
year there is a unique company that develop new variety because the competition in the market very big.
So you don't develop it here.
No, I
you'll
don't
take
develop.
from somewhere
I'm
else.
part of the test. Sometimes they bring me new variety to taste in my farm, to do exam, to see how it's growing, and I, as agronomist, help them to learn about it.
So you don't have to pay $1 million to invent a new...
me as a farmer, no. They need to sell a lot of seeds of tomato to earn this money.
Right. Unbelievable. So you continued growing things for many years. Eventually, as you noted, it seems like you became more of a tourist attraction. You said you identified your profession as tourism now. And clearly anybody who comes here, and people are welcome and to come here, of course, will see each time tours and groups and buses from Birthright or families or wherever else. So how did that eventually come about?
I tell you in the beginning that if you want to earn a lot of money from agriculture, you must to be very big, and it's very danger this time.
Because you're risking the investment.
Yes.
And if it doesn't produce, then you lose your money and you're stuck.
Yes, this exactly. So I don't believe to invest a lot of money, and I don't have so many. And my passion was to teach other about what I know to do, because I start as professional, not as only to sell thing as a market. So I start in the beginning to families, to my family, to show my farm, and they love it. So from year to year, more people come to see my crop, and eventually in the year 2009, I start to work with Birthright. So a lot of the group of Birthright start to come to visit my farm, and they like it a lot because here you can see what Israel, the real Israel is. How I say before, how Avraham Avinu came here with his cattle just 20 kilometers from here, from Haran, arrived to this region, and he was a farmer like me. And a lot of Jews and a lot of people all over the world forget the source, the base. They forget it, but they love it. Every children like to pick and to learn about healthy crop. Every mother like to show her children what crop, how important it is to grow all this crop and to use it. So I like to show this, and I developed my farm to a demonstration farm. So from the money I have, I can develop this museum of agriculture that's called the Salad Trail. And I do a trail through all the components of the salad. And the idea here to show and to teach about agriculture.
So what are some of the stops that people get to enjoy when they come here?
We have different crop during all the year, and the idea, it's museum of agriculture, but the unique of it that you can eat the art.
Most museums it says do not touch on the glass. Here it says please touch, please pick.
Please touch and eat. This is the difference, because I believe that after you taste this tomato, like we have about 10 different variety of cherry tomato. We have 3 variety of cucumber. We call them cucumber because they are very small and unique. We have herbs, 60 different kind of herbs. We have oranges, we have pineapple, we have passion fruit, potato, peanuts, strawberry, 7 species garden. All these crops that everyone is different station in the tour of about half an hour, while the guide teach about the crop, explain about them, explain about Shnat Shemitah, sabbatical year, and about Trumot and Maasarot. And then the group start to pick and to eat in the field, and then after they enjoy it, they go to another field, learn about the water, how we use here unique water, and every crop, the idea here to show by fun how we can grow in a desert. For my opinion, success is somebody go out from here and remember after 1 year or 2 years or 10 years that the best tomato he ever eat, it was in the Israeli desert, that unique variety developed in Israel, and the water that we give to the plant to drink is sewage water. We use here sewage water to feed our plant. So if you remember it after 10 years, I succeed.
Why sewage water?
Because in Israel we don't have enough water, so we take the water of the center of Israel, clean them, and clean them as a drinking water, and this is the water that we use here for agriculture.
That water could even be drank.
Yes, we don't drink them. We don't allow to drink them, but they are good to feed, to give to the plant. We don't allow to drink them, but they clean as a drinking water.
How does the levels of infestation, bugs in the crops compare here to what you're doing versus other fields that are using different methods or different locations?
The idea of the farm to show the commercial way of the other farmer. I use the same system of all the farmer in the area, but in every crop is different behave. For example, in the strawberry field, we grow here strawberry, we use only biological control. We don't spray at all. We have biological control that small bugs that eat the other bugs that disturb for the strawberry to grow. So every crop have different treatment, and because we grow in greenhouse, we can reduce the amount of the spraying. For example, if I grow tomato in open field, I need to spray 3 times a day.
Wow.
In our greenhouse, we can spray once in 3 weeks.
Oh my
it's
goodness.
much less spraying and very healthy.
So, I know a lot of people who, those who are concerned with Jewish law, don't want to eat infested crops. Is it easier to clean these, or there's less bugs that enter to begin with?
Depending what crop. If you speak about strawberry, it's a lot of religion people don't eat strawberry because they're afraid.
Or they clean it very carefully.
Because it's very hard to clean it.
Right.
Our fruit very safe, but some don't believe it and don't trust it, and Haredim will never eat strawberry. Anyway, but our fruit is safe and no any bugs, but everyone believe. For example, leaf, like lettuce.
Leafy vegetables, yeah.
This, we close the greenhouse hermetically and there is no any bugs, and then you can eat it very safe.
Do you sell for Pesach with the romaine lettuce from Maror at all?
I'm not selling anything.
Right.
I'm selling stories.
Right.
This is my farm focus, but all the farmer in the area selling all this product, in Pesach or in all of the year, the lettuce without any bug. Yes, we are professional of it, all the farmers in the area. My farm is to show to people what the ability of the farmer. I'm not selling other out product.
Right, right. Tell me a little bit more about some of the Jewish questions. As we mentioned before, Shemitah, the sabbatical year, that according to the Torah, once in 7 years, the land must rest. And it's very complicated for people to have vegetables on this year, and there's a lot of controversy about what to do. Some people allow that the land should be sold to non-Jews, to Arabs, and then worked. Others do not permit this. Can you explain a little bit about what the Shemitah is and the different ways that you go about addressing it?
I start with another thing that you didn't speak on it, is where you must to do a Shemitah. We are now in the south of Israel, in the place that not all the time the Jewish sit here. Only from the Bible it's right that only until the time of David HaMelech and later until when the time the Jew left Israel to the Galut, to Bavel, okay, they probably live here. So in the Bible it's right that you should do a Shemitah in the border of Israel. It's until, in the south, it's until the river of the Nile. The river of Egypt. It's not sure where is the river of Egypt. For my opinion, it's the Besor region that it's north from here. That's even the reason that Avraham Avinu came here and reached to this river. Never passed it south. We are now south to this river. So it's not sure where is this border. So it's not sure that we must to do a Shemitah here or not.
Interesting.
So some rabbi say, okay, because we are not sure if it was Israel or not, this in the difference of time, for sure, and it's right, that in the time that the Jewish came back from Bavel, they never reached to this area. There's called Gvulot Olei Mitzrayim and Gvulot Olei Bavel. You understand me?
Just to translate, the borders of the Jews when they came out of Egypt, meaning the first time they come into the land of Israel, and then the borders after the destruction of the first temple, when the Jews came back to resettle the land. Not all of them, actually, not even the majority, but many Jews with Ezra came back to resettle the land and build the second temple. So they didn't settle these particular areas, right, where we sit now.
Yes, they didn't sit here for sure, but because of the doubt, we need to do Shemitah, but we don't need to bless in this region. But if you are not sure, you can do it, okay? This one thing about the Shemitah. The Shemitah idea is not to give to the land to rest. There's another belief that it's give to the people the time to go and to work for God, to pray, to have 1 year, to think about God, to think about behave. Not in most of the people was farmer, and when you are farmer, you start, like me, start from the sun shine until the sun go down, and you don't have a lot of power to work and to learn. So the Shemitah is to give to people 1 year to rest, and not to give to the land to rest.
Interesting.
This is what I learned about the Shemitah. So they take this idea and say, okay, you will not work in this year. God will give you food to eat, enough food to eat. You don't need to work all the 7 years. 1 year you can rest. But in the modern time, for example, if I'm a farmer and I have a market of my wonderful tomato, I send 6 years to the market. In the 7 year, if I will not be in the market, somebody else come to the market and I lose all my customer. And in the modern time, it's not easy. But we still want to take care and to behave and to remember what is right in the Bible. So we take the rules from the Bible and fit it to the modern agriculture. So what is right It's right in the Bible that you should not grow in the land. But it's not right that you cannot grow inside house. So, for my opinion, and for other rabbi, it's have permission. If you grow in greenhouse, it's called a house. And if you don't plant in the soil, you can plant out the soil. It's not right, it's not permission. So what we do, we take the plant out of the soil, plant them in bucket, high off the ground, and inside greenhouse, you can use this crop even in the Shemitah year. You understand?
Yeah.
Because it's right, not in the sand and not in open field.
And you've talked to rabbis about?
Yes,
Yeah.
I talk and teach rabbis about it.
Right.
It's called Halachot Shel Shnat Shemitah. We have a very big book and I go through the book. For example, if you have orchard, I have orchard, so I bring people to pick from the fruit. So what you do in Shnat Shemitah, it's right that you cannot sell the product. I don't sell.
Right.
It's like you have in your garden a tree, give fruit every year. You can eat in the Shnat Shemitah. You don't allow to spray it. You don't allow to prune the plant. But if you gave the plant to grow, you can eat from the fruit even in the Shnat Shemitah. So that's what we are doing. We don't sell the product. In my farm, I don't sell anything, so I don't have a problem with this. So we take care of the thing that right of the Shnat Shemitah, but we still, our farmer, very few of the farmer in Israel don't do anything in Shnat Shemitah. Most of them find the solution that the rabbi give them permission to grow in Shnat Shemitah, and the fruit is safe.
Right. There is a minority that do it. I think there's something called Keren HaShemitah that helps support farmers.
Yes, but it's very few of the farmers.
But it's not so many. And of course, that organization works to try to get more farms to do it, and they give them financial support and things like this. How do you deal with other issues within Jewish law? You mentioned Trumat Masrot, which is tithing of different sorts of tithes given to priests and some to the poor and some at different places. Do you deal with these kinds of things here on the farm, or is it only after, only farmers that are selling to market? Who deals with those kinds of things?
It's right in the Bible that if you pick in the field and take it to your home, you need to do Trumot Masarot. If you eat in the field, you don't need to do it.
Right.
So you can eat in the field without any...
On the tours.
On the tours, that's the idea here in my farm. So the people here don't take the product back to the house. So they don't need to do Trumot Masarot. It's need only when you take it out from the field to the house.
Interesting. And some of the things, you do sell a few things in your shop, right? Some spices and things like that. Are those from your farm?
From the region,
From the region, not
yes.
necessarily from the farm itself.
No, it's from orchard, olive oil and honey of the farmer in the area.
And on those products, people would need to take off whatever tithes they would on their own, I would imagine.
Yes. I get the final product that they need to, the rabbi come to them and do Trumot Masarot.
The rabbi does it here?
No. In the product that I sell, I buy it after they do Trumot.
The rabbi does it first, and then you buy it already fixed.
Yes.
Okay. Did not know that. There's some other programs that you do here on the farm. I remember I once brought a group to do an Iron Chef competition. Tell us a little bit about that, and are there any other special programs you do besides just the regular tour?
Yes, I have plenty of them. The program is fit for families. Not a lot of family come to visit my farm. A lot of soldiers. Just now,
I saw a soldier group, right? 2 soldier groups as I passed inside. Yeah.
These soldiers now protect our border, and they have off from the duty, and I subsidize them to come to visit and to see for what they are.
What are they protecting? Yeah,
what they are protecting.
Beautiful.
Yes. So they like it a lot, and it's make them more strength to protect us.
Wow.
The program that you mentioned, the Iron Chef, is the idea is to take the vegetables, all the unique crop that I grow, even edible flower, even fruits like Strawberry, like passion fruit, like tzabar. You know tzabar, sabres.
I'm not familiar.
Cactus,
Yes.
cactus fruit.
Does cactus grow fruit?
Yes, yes.
Because we were passing in on the way
Yes,
here,
yes.
and we were looking at rows and rows of cacti.
Yes.
I said, "What's it for? Just for extra pricks?" I said,
No,
it's actual fruit.
it's for fruit. It's
Okay.
the biggest area in Israel of cactus fruit.
Okay, did not know.
Okay, you need to try it once. It's
Okay.
very unique. The tzabar, it's called the tzabar. So the group go and pick all the crop after the tour and do wonderful dishes. Even they are not professional. It's the only place that they do by themselves. They don't only listening, they don't only eating, they need to do something from their own.
Create.
To create. So this is the most exciting thing. Another new program we have here, it's called Escape Garden.
It's like an escape room.
Yes, and I mentioned about the 7 species garden.
Yes, tell me about that as well. Yeah.
Like I tell you in the beginning, all what I learned from my mother, and when she passed away 2 years ago, to remember her name, I built this garden, the 7 species garden, and I tried to teach group about the 7 species.
From the Bible.
From the Bible, all the 7 species that Israel blessed from them.
And what are they?
There are the chita, seora, gefen, rimon, dvash, it's meaning honey of a date.
Date honey, yeah.
Date honey, pomegranate, and fig.
Right, and as well as wheat and barley.
Yes,
and,
I mentioned it in Hebrew. Yes, the 7 species that Israel blessed. I show here how they grow, and I give people to pick and taste them. But to learn and to feel and touch the tree, I create a game that they need to go in the field to find a secret code on the tree that I mentioned, and that the way while they're eating from the grape, they learn about the leaf, they learn the sentence, I don't know how you translate it, נכנס יין, יצא סוד.
Means when the wine enters a person, secrets come out. Right? That wine intoxicates and also helps express one's inner essence. Well, we say this a lot when it comes to Purim. And a person gets drunk on Purim, that their deeper self emerges.
So I show the plant, I give them to eat directly. I show them about the fig, how it was the first bikini in heaven, and they see the meaning. So it's very nice game, and I find groups and family in that way, not only to look on the tree, to find something code, it's make them unique.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about the animals that you said you're raising here, and specifically the pigeons, the homing pigeons, which are amazing, amazing animals, which I love to see every time.
According to the Jewish traditional, the pigeon symbolizes the Jewish nation. It's right in Sefer in Yeshayahu that when like the Jewish כיונים החוזרות לארובותיהן, ככה העם היהודי, if you can.
Just like the pigeons will return to their natural habitat, to their home, so too the Jews, we may be dispersed around the world and exiled, but ultimately we're always gravitate back towards our home, the land of Israel.
So the pigeon, like I say, very connected to me from my childhood, because I remember my mother and me every time we go to visit my sister. She learned in school very far from our house, so we go in bus to visit her, and every time we go with a box with pigeon. We drive for about 100 kilometers to get to her school, and we take a box with pigeon. We release the homing pigeon, and the homing pigeon know to go back home. So every time we go on the bus, we take the box and release the pigeon from her school, and it came to my home. And I remember it as I was a child. When I became to be adult, I want to teach my son about this homing pigeon, because he was all the time in the computer. Even we are in Moshav, in the village.
He wasn't in the fields?
No, not at all. and I tried to give him some of my childhood, my love, my passion from the childhood. So I go and bring him a homing pigeon. So he agreed to give name for the pigeon, and for that was all. And I stayed to grow all these pigeons.
What was the name?
The name was a football player.
Which one?
Ronaldo and Messi.
Ronaldo and Messi.
That was the first pigeon. But I stay with the pigeon, and because it was my hobby, not my son's hobby, I go on and on it. In the year 2005, I joined the Israeli club of racing pigeon, and we have a race, and I win as a champion of Israel.
Wow, where's the race? From where to where?
It was from the north of Israel, from Mount Hermon, until the south of Israel, that we are now here, about 400 kilometers.
So you would drive the pigeons up?
Yes.
And then
they fly back. And
Wow.
we do a competition about speed, not about who pigeon get first. The pigeon that fly the fastest, the highest speed.
Why was your pigeon so fast?
Did
you breed it in a
because
certain
I
way?
love them so much. And maybe they love mine. I raised them with love, this was, I believe. So I released them in Mount Hermon, and they came here about 4 hours. After 4 hours from Mount
So
Hermon.
100 kilometers per hour they're
Yes.
flying.
Yes.
It's like a car. Yeah.
Yes, it is faster than a car. So I go and race in this hobby and grow more and more pigeon. But not only from my mother alone, I have a friend of my family that was a soldier in communication unit in the independent war.
1948, yeah.
Yes, and this member of the family named Leah used to bring pigeon from Tel Aviv to the settlement, to the kibbutz here around my moshav in 1948. So when the Egyptian occupied all this south of Israel, the only way to communicate was with the pigeon that my aunt, this Leah, that I mentioned, bring here to the soldier that take care of all the base around. So I learned from her also things from the independent war, and even a very famous author named Meir Shalev write a book, A Pigeon and a Boy. And it tells the story of my family, how we used to grow pigeon, how this Aunt Leah, bring pigeon to the settlement here. And this is the story that I tell everyone. And when the group came here, they see the champion pigeon, they attach a message to the leg of the pigeon and send messages to bar mitzvah boy or for anyone. And it's very fun to see a pigeon fly in the sky, bring a bless to somebody else. It's very fun.
Wow. And now during the war, they would like put messages in the mouth or on the leg. How would they do it?
We have a message tube. In Hebrew, it's called totaf. Totaf, it's like totafot benenecha.
For tefillin, yeah.
In tefillin. So it's a small message tube, and I get from the U.S. Army the original message tube from World War II. Wow. I still have it. So we put in this message tube a very small note, attach it to the leg of the pigeon, and take the pigeon away from the house. For example, if a soldier go to the field, he take a pigeon with him, and when he have a problem in the field, he attach a message, and the pigeon fly back to the base because she born in the base. It's only one way. So when we have here tourists, we take the pigeon away from here, or we give them when they go to Tel Aviv or whenever they go, they attach a message and the message come back here, and I send it by mail, the message that they attach.
Is there ever a way to change their home, so to speak? Or once they're born somewhere,
they need to born, that's it. They need to born in everywhere. Even a pigeon leave her baby, leave her husband. She always come back home if she have the opportunity. So when I buy a pigeon, I never release there. Only the baby. The ability of the pigeon to go back They get it as they are baby.
Do we know why?
It's according to the magnetic field of the globe. So they feel, they can smell. Every place in the world have different magnetic sign. So the pigeon can smell it and fly even, and my pigeon fly from Cyprus. It's 400 kilometers over the sea. And I take a pigeon by yacht over there and they release there, and they came back here after 36 hours.
And they don't need to rest or eat?
They need they need to rest because in the night they are not flying. So I go by yacht. I believe they find a yacht to the other side and sleep on the deck for the night, and maybe in the morning they fly on. I don't know. But when you do the competition, for example, from the Mount Hermon, they don't stop. 5 hours of flying, they can do it without any stop.
Incredible. Just in starting to close, Uri, we're in a region that is considered by some to be somewhat dangerous, or it's close to the Gaza border. Driving here, you see many signs for the Rafah crossing and things like this. Do you ever feel like you're in a position of insecurity? Have there been issues when there have been different things coming over from Gaza, whether rockets or now the kites that are being sent over from terrorists? Have you had any issues in that regard?
When I start with my site, I learned that you must to do, if you want to succeed in tourism, you must to be on the way to somewhere. To way to Eilat, to way to Mount Hermon, to way to the Kinneret in Israel, Sea of Galilee. Here we are not in the way to anywhere. Here the tourists need to come directly to here. They go for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. To reach only to my farm, there is no any other site, tourist site in the area. So it was very hard to convince people to arrive here. More of this, the security situation in this region sometimes is very noisy. We are very close to Egypt border and very close to Gaza, but we are safe here. And I grow my grandson just 500 meters from the border with Gaza without any fear. I live here, and even sometimes you hear in the news that there's some attack of a rocket. It's happened, sometimes it's happened, but it's in an area that the size of it's about 30% of Israel. So if one small rocket that can make damage to one car, it's like a car accident, that's all the damage that one rocket do. It's affect about 30% of Israel area. So it's not real problem. It's in the media problem, and a lot of people afraid to arrive. But it's happened not very often. It's happened about every 4 years for a few weeks, and then it's began to be quiet again. In the last summer, there was a few days of rocket that shoot from Gaza. I live here 30 years and I never see any rocket. And I didn't hear any rocket, okay? So in the media, it's look that you cannot live here. But I never see it, and I grow very safe, my children and my grandson, and it's safe here. There is unique time that's not safe, but it's very few days in 4 years. So now it's safe. Now we are dealing with the Arab about peace agreement, and don't believe that it will be peace, but it will be quiet like we have with Egypt. We don't go to Egypt to visit, but we don't have war situation with them, and the border is quiet. So even we are 5 miles from the border, it's not affect us. The kite that you speak, there are burned some field, but it's not very, I never see a kite like this. Any of my tourists didn't suffer from it. So it's safe here, and every few times it's noisy. So next week it will be quiet. So Israel, it's in complicated areas. Sometimes it's here, sometimes it's where. But the more thing that we do, pure Zionism. We believe what we are doing, and we do it and show it. And this is the real nice Israel that you dream on. The real pioneering Israel that I hope all your listeners come to see.
how can people learn more about the Salad Trail, learn how to come book a tour and come and enjoy this beautiful place?
I believe they can find it through our website. It's thesaladtrail.co.il, and they can connect from us over there. There is movie on the side. There's a lot of interview, and like this very nice interview. I hope they like it.
Wonderful. Uri Alon, the Salad Trail here in the south of Israel. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This has been Ari Koretsky on Jews You Should Know. Please visit us at JewsYouShouldKnow.com and subscribe at iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you consume podcasts. Find us on social media at Jews You Should Know. If you'd like to become a supporter of this podcast, we would greatly appreciate that, and you can do so by visiting patreon.com. That's patreon.com/Jews You Should Know. Finally, if you have enjoyed this podcast, please leave us a review so that we can continue to grow and introduce many more people to Jews You Should Know.